In this guide, we're going to be going over how to add mods to your Simple Game Hosting server. Now, we do have an in-depth text tutorial on how to do this that covers everything we're going to be covering in this video as well. So if you'd rather go at your own pace using the text guide, it is available for you. Otherwise, let's get into it. Now, first things first, when you purchased your server, you may have selected a server version. If you did select Forge or Fabric, then you're good to go. You can skip the first part of this tutorial. Otherwise, if you need to set up your server on Forge or Fabric, navigate to the server control panel, and then once you're here, you will need to select your server. Once the server is selected, click Stop in the bottom right of the console here, and it will shut down the server. This is important because we're changing the server software that you're hosting your server on. From there, click on Versions at the top, and it will take you to our version selector. From here, click on Vanilla, and you want to select Forge or Fabric. Luckily, the process is exactly the same for either Forge or Fabric. The only difference is what you select right here. So select whichever version you want, Forge or Fabric, and then click Install under the version of Forge or Fabric you want. Currently, all the way back to 1.5.2 for Forge is supported. Go ahead and click Install. Click Install again on this pop-up, confirming you want to install Forge, and now the page will reload, installing Forge on your server along the way. Once this is done, we'll want to navigate back to the console section of the server, and then click on Start. This time when the server starts, it's probably going to take a little longer than it did when it didn't have Forge installed. That's because modded servers use a lot more resources generally than non-modded servers. For this reason, we recommend getting at least 4 GB on any modded servers you want to start. Nevertheless, as you can see, the server is now done, and if we look here, we do have the Forge config, if you will, being pulled, which basically means it's now working. At this point, you can join your server. However, you will need to install Forge locally and play Minecraft with Forge in order to join the server. Everyone who plays in your server will have to do this. They will also have to install any mods you add to the server locally on their computer as well. There are plenty of guides out there on how to do that, so be sure to check those out for yourself and your friends who need to install the mods locally in their mods folder after you've added them to the server. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, we'll be installing 2 mods via the file manager. The mods we're going to be installing are Spark and Journey Map. One thing I want to mention about getting mods is when you download them, you want to make sure that you're either getting the Fabric or the Forge version, depending on what version of server software you used. It's also worth noting that you will need to install Fabric or Forge locally. I think I just said Forge earlier. If you're running a Fabric server, you will also need to install that locally and add the mods there as well in order to join it. But for this, we're using Forge, so I'm downloading this version of Spark. Spark is really helpful, by the way, because if you do notice issues with your server, it can help you diagnose those. Nevertheless, navigating back to the server's console, just click on File Manager at the top. When you do, you will have a mods folder, and if you don't for whatever reason, make sure that you did install a Forge or Fabric version from the version selector. Nevertheless, go ahead and click on the mods folder to open it, and then click on Upload in the top right to bring up the server uploader. From here, what you want to do is simply select the mods you want to install. In our case, that's Journey Map and Spark, and when you click Open, it will move them, and well, I say move them, automatically upload them to the server. Now, for these mods to be active on the server, we need to navigate back to the console and click the Restart button down here at the bottom. When the server restarts, the mods will be active. Let me go ahead, install Forge locally, install the mods locally, and then I will meet you to join the server just to check that everything is working. So here we are on the Minecraft main menu. As we can see in the bottom left, we are running Forge. We can go to the mods tab here and check that the mods are installed locally as well. Again, the mods must be installed locally for you and anyone you want to join your server in order to join. So they need to be on the server and in your local mods folder. But nevertheless, here we are on the server. We can see Journey Map is active in the top right and working. If we press J, it's going to open up Journey Map and we can see it here. What about Spark? Well, if we do /Spark Profiler, we will be able to start a profiler and be able to diagnose any potential lag issues and stuff like that on the server when we stop the server. It's not uncommon for a mod to cause really bad server performance, so if you do start noticing that, using Spark to diagnose it can be a great way to make the server less laggy without having to upgrade and things like that. Now, if we stop, a profiler will be created. We can click this link and open it up. And when we do, we will be able to see data about the server. As you can see, our TPS up here, and even break things down from there and try to figure out where the lag is coming from. If you do have any lag with your server though, you can obviously reach out to us via live chat. Nevertheless though, that's how you can add mods to your server on Simple Game Hosting.